bigger the bill, the harder you ball. Well, I'm doing mine.
Hello, my name is David, and I'll be interviewing Brian Nowake about African American culture related to U.S. healthcare and his personal experiences and perceptions of the U.S. healthcare system and African American culture. All right, so Brian, where were you born?
I was actually born in Baltimore, Maryland, and so I stayed there 10 years before I moved into like the Houston area, and so ever since then I've been living in Houston. So yeah, Baltimore, ND.
Where did you grow up? But you grew up in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for like most of my like junior high, high school, I kind of had like those experiences in like Houston, and so.
But your family, however, is from Nigeria.
Yeah,
Talk about that.
I'm kind of like second generation Nigerian, and so like my parents were born in Nigeria, and then they came over here, and then they had me, and so yeah, it was interesting. It's kind of like different, like having that culture, like being brought up in like a Nigerian culture that's like different from like the normal like than just like someone like primarily like African American.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of tie it more to health. So, like, our book is talking about that African Americans receive disrespectful comments and subtle hints of rudeness in health settings. Have you personally experienced this or heard stories of this happening that you've heard about, like with your friends?
Personally, I haven't really encountered much about that, like discrimination or like kind of like rudeness.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Specifically, like in health settings, like in the hospitals or
Yeah.
clinics. Have you seen that? Like going to the hospital, have you seen like a nurse or a clerk being mean to somebody because of their race, or like being discriminatory because of their race?
I think I can see that happening because like I'm kind of like I'm a pre-med and stuff, so I was doing like shadowing and all that stuff, so I kind of get some other reviews, some like healthcare and everything too, and I guess sometimes I do get that vibe, like when I'm like shadowing a doctor or something like that. It's kind of like slight. It's like not very. It's like very subtle, but I can like see that like I don't know if it's because of. I don't know, if somebody was, I don't know, it's someone just, I don't know, it's very, like, you can kind of, like, feel it.
It's very subtle, yeah.
Yeah, it's so subtle, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, like, something that's gonna be, like, oh, tear this, like, institution down, but it's something, like, very subtle. I'm not really sure why that's the case,
Yeah.
but I haven't dealt with it personally. But I can definitely see how other people can come to that conclusion
And I kind of feel like it's
on that account, but
which ties me to my next question. Okay, personally for you, would you feel more comfortable having a black doctor while attending a hospital, like as a patient, or a white doctor?
me personally, I think I would go with, I guess, with the black doctor, I guess, in a way, because especially relating to health, there's some like health issues that are kind of like a black doctor would probably be more aware of than like someone that's like a different culture. I feel like could be that can go the same for like any race, I guess. But yeah, they will be more like, I guess, in touch with the healthcare issues that you're dealing with. Like some African Americans are more susceptible to some diseases than like others, and so if there's somebody like that's kind of like in the same, on like the same race and stuff, that would probably help at least bridge that gap.
Yeah,
and, like,
so
break some
you would feel
barriers.
like a black doctor would more likely relate
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
like a black patient more than a white doctor.
Yeah,
And
I
like
believe
because
that.
of that, like that black patient may feel more comfortable going to a black doctor.
For sure, and then they can be able to like explain like issues that they have more clearly to that black doctor, because I guess like I said, like they break down a barrier and stuff, and so they'll be more open about it, I feel like. So I can definitely feel that personally. I can definitely see how the person next to me can be like feeling the same way.
All right, I'm gonna like tie it in. I'm gonna ask you some personal questions, just like about like just like African American culture and yourself as well. So, do you have family members or friends that have high blood pressure, diabetes, or have obesity? The reason why I'm asking you this is because these are the three most common health concerns.
Yeah. My dad actually has hypertension and like high blood pressure, and and my mom actually has diabetes. So I guess my mom always told me she got I guess it was like gestational diabetes or something like that that turned into like type 2 later on. But like after she had me and stuff like that. But it's still like kind of prevalent in her and stuff like that. So.
Because these diseases, they're very common in the African American culture. High blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. So your family has this problem. So we have some of these problems. Okay, going back to yourself, how frequently do you go to the doctor? And do you go for regular checkups, or do you only go when something is wrong?
I definitely try to go. I try to do like regular checkups.
Okay.
And so, kind of like checkups and everything. So, and then I guess if something is wrong, I would go more frequently. But
what about your family? Just the same thing, or?
Oh yeah, my family goes through regular checkups for sure. Especially like I guess since they have like some conditions as well, so we get checked up pretty often as well.
All right. Now I'm going to tie this into the spiritual aspect of I'm going to tie African American culture and health to like the spiritual aspect of it. So, do you or people you know believe that? Do you like people of African American culture, and your family included, believe? Do you feel like they believe more that their health is in God's hands, or do they kind of like are side more to health, like toward the biomedical side of things, or do they also incorporate the spiritual side of things to health as well?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
From my personal experience with me and my family, my parents are kind of like they're in like the medical field and everything, so like they kind of like have that more that medical bias in like when it comes to like sickness and stuff. So it's like if I get sick, it's because of something I did, and so something that I'm not doing right. Like my mom, I always remember when I was younger, like my mom is like, don't eat too much sugar, like don't eat too much, like don't have too much McDonald's and like those Happy Meals. And if that's the case, if you keep on doing that, then you might end up like getting diabetes and stuff like that. And so it's like my mom specifically was like very like medically like inclined towards that kind of topic. Like so if it's like say if like I got diabetes, it would have been because of my diet and stuff like that, and not something that was in God's hands or something like that. But but not to say that she isn't faithful, because she's one of the most faithful people that I know. But like there's some things that you have to take upon yourself.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a mixture, like a half, where like if like let's say you or one of your siblings gets sick, first things first, they're gonna take you to the hospital. But then they might also pray for you as well.
Exactly. Yeah, they would do that. So it's like God plays a role in everything, and then but like you have to do your part and like make sure you get checked up and like do all that stuff. And
that's interesting. Okay, I think this is going to be the last question here, but this also could be tied to your African culture as a Nigerian. Do you or people maybe just like not just your family but people that use herbs or remedies?
Oh no, like my parents don't use like alternative medicine or something like that. But I know like in Nigeria, I guess they kind of like, I don't know if it's like a real thing or stuff, but they always like call it like juju magic and stuff like that. And so they kind of like you go to like a juju doctor, like a magic doctor, and like they kind of like
witch
make some stuff, I guess
shamans and all that.
Get some cow hairs and stuff, and then round it up, and then all of a sudden make your sickness on to like or like make somebody feel better. So I mean, there's rumors of that happening, but I've never seen that play a part in my life or in anybody else's life close to me. But kind of see that in like movies and stuff. So
that kind of approach to medicine is more of it's the ancient style of medicine. It's kind of dying off, and in modern cultures it's not really a reality.
It's more like a joke.
So very very true. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you for listening, and hope you learned a lot more about African American culture relating to health. US health. Thank you.